Hello everyone! Welcome to Untold History, where we rediscover the events that marked the world as we know it. Today we delve into a tragic episode that not only changed the course of World War II, but also transformed the destiny of America, the attack on Pearl Harbor. In 1941, World War II was in full swing. Europe was mired in a devastating conflict, with Axis forces led by Germany, Italy, and Japan expanding their control across the continent and beyond. However, the United States, although it had begun to provide economic and material support to the Allied nations through the Lend-Lease program, was still officially staying out of the conflict. But tensions with Japan, which had embarked on an aggressive expansion campaign in Asia, were at an all-time high. Japan, under the military leadership of Prime Minister Hideki Tojo and with the approval of Emperor Hirohito, saw its territorial expansion as the only way to secure the natural resources needed to sustain its economy and growing military power. The invasion of Manchuria in 1931 and the war with China that broke out in 1937 were part of this expansionist strategy, but they had also brought Japan into direct confrontation with the interests of Western powers, especially the United States. In response to the Japanese occupation of French Indochina in 1940, the United States, along with the United Kingdom and the Netherlands, imposed an oil embargo that threatened to cripple the Japanese war machine. Faced with this scenario, Japan faced a critical dilemma: withdraw from its conquests, which would be a humiliation and intolerable weakness, or move towards a direct confrontation with the United States. They opted for the latter, but they knew they couldn't directly engage America's mighty Pacific Fleet without taking decisive action first. Thus, a bold and risky plan was devised to launch a preemptive strike that would temporarily neutralize the U.S. response capacity: a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, the main U.S. naval base in the Pacific located in Hawaii. On the morning of December 7, 1941, a Japanese attack fleet consisting of 6 carriers launched a total of 353 aircraft in 2 successive waves. The skies over Oahu were filled with Japanese bombers, torpedo boats, and fighters on a mission of destruction. The operation was meticulously planned by Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, who, while aware of the long-term risks of attacking the United States, believed that a quick and decisive victory could force the Americans to negotiate a favorable peace for Japan. The attack lasted less than 2 hours, but its effects were devastating. In a well-coordinated effort, the Japanese managed to sink 4 battleships, including the USS Arizona, where most of the casualties perished, damage 4 others, and destroy or severely damage nearly 200 aircraft. More than 2,400 people were killed, including sailors, soldiers, and civilians. The naval base at Pearl Harbor was badly damaged, and for a brief moment it appeared that Japan had achieved its goal of incapacitating the U.S. Pacific Fleet. However, despite its tactical success, the attack did not meet all of its strategic objectives. Japanese forces failed to destroy U.S. carriers, which were off base at the time of the attack, nor repair facilities and fuel depots, which would be crucial to American recovery and counterattack. In addition, the attack had a unifying effect on the American population, which until then had been divided over intervention in the war. On December 8, 1941, President Franklin D. Roosevelt addressed Congress and the American people, delivering his famous speech in which he declared that December 7th would be a date that will live in infamy. With overwhelming support from Congress, Roosevelt requested and obtained a declaration of war against Japan. The entry of the United States into World War II not only changed the dynamics of the conflict, but also marked the beginning of a profound transformation in the American nation. Within days, Germany and Italy declared war on the United States, leading the country to enter a global conflict on 2 fronts: in Europe against Axis forces and in the Pacific against Japan. The U.S. response was swift and decisive, launching military campaigns that would eventually lead to the defeat of Japan and Germany. But beyond the immediate impact on the war, the attack on Pearl Harbor had lasting consequences for the future of the United States and the world. The attack on Pearl Harbor not only fueled the militarization of the United States, but also ushered in its transformation into a global superpower. Massive resource mobilization, technological innovation, and leadership in the Allied coalition laid the groundwork for America's dominant role on the world stage in the decades that followed. The war fueled the growth of the American economy and the consolidation of its military, diplomatic, and economic power, establishing a new world order that would persist through the Cold War and beyond. In addition, Pearl Harbor left deep scars in the collective memory of Americans. The attack became a symbol of betrayal and determination, and the memory of that day fueled a spirit of unity and sacrifice in times of war. The phrase, "Remember Pearl Harbor," became a rallying cry, reminding Americans of the need to always be prepared for the unexpected. The tragedy also led to controversial decisions, such as the internment of Japanese citizens in the United States, a policy driven by fear and mistrust, and which today is seen as a stain on the country's civil rights history. Cultural impact of Pearl Harbor extends far beyond the event itself. He has been depicted in countless books, films, and documentaries and remains a landmark in America's historical narrative. Each year, December 7th is commemorated with ceremonies across the country, and at Pearl Harbor, the USS Arizona Memorial stands as a moving testament to the sacrifices made and as a reminder of the fragility of peace. In a broader sense, the attack on Pearl Harbor was a catalyst for the emergence of a new era in international politics. The war that followed redefined borders, reconfigured alliances, and established international institutions such as the United Nations, aimed at preventing similar conflicts in the future. America's role in the world changed irreversibly, and the country took on the responsibility of being not only a defender of democracy but also a guarantor of the global order. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of the most momentous events of the 20th century, the attack on Pearl Harbor. This event not only changed the course of World War II, but also transformed America's standing in the world and left an indelible mark on history. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Leave your comments below and join the conversation. Their participation is key so that we can continue to grow and offer content that really interests them. Also, if you liked the video, don't forget to like it and share it with those who you think would also enjoy exploring these forgotten chapters of history. Thank you for your continued support and for being part of this community of history enthusiasts. See you in the next episode of Untold Story.